Judy?
already called his family. And I get inside and I saw Andres in the bed. It was a bunch of paramedic and the left side and the right side giving him a CPR and an electroshock. So I went to his side and I spoke to him and said, Andres, you can do this, come on, get up. And I went to his feet and his ankle, and I took his ankle, and I went on my knees, and I said, okay, Lord, you make me change my church, because I was Roman Catholic. So, I said, you make me change my church, and you make me fall in love with Jesus. And I remember saying to him, I know he's your son, and you can do whatever you want. But I come to you to ask you for mercy. I'm asking you for forgiveness if my husband has done something wrong. But I know, and I have learned in my church that you are the God of Israel. You are the God of David. And you are the God of all miracles. I know, Father, you can do it because I have learned in my word and your word that what for man is impossible, for you everything is possible. And I know Andres is out. Of course, at that time I didn't know any medical issues. I knew he was there, and I know I was praying on my knees, and the doctor was asking me, get up, get up, get up, get up. And I remember one nurse telling me, she came inside, and the nurse told me, keep praying, keep praying. That nurse, yeah, and it was a nurse taking his Andres' pulse, and it was nothing. So I said to God, you gave Sarah a baby when she was really old, and you forgave David when he killed a guy. I know you can do it. Help me, Lord. Have mercy on us. And I was kind of open. Whatever the Lord wants, it was whatever he wants. And they were giving him CPR, electroshock, and all that. And suddenly someone came and touched Andres' pulse. And that nurse was like, he has pulse. And the doctor was, what? Running around and touching Andres. Yeah, he has pulse. So they put everything back to him, and they took him to the Broward General Hospital. When we got there at Broward General Hospital, the doctor couldn't do anything. The cardiologist said his heart is working only 10%. He's not going to make it tomorrow. Call his family. I went to the ladies' room, and I went on my knees, and I said, God, I'm walking by faith. You show me to walk by faith. And my faith says that for whatever for man is impossible, for you everything is possible. And my faith said that you are with me. You never know me, nor forsake me. My faith said that Jesus Christ lives inside Andres. So his light, your light is inside of him. You made his body, you made his heart, and I'm trusting you, Lord. I was devastated inside of me, but whatever God wanted us to do, it was his will. And suddenly, well, the next thing I did, his family was in the room, but they're Roman Catholic, so it was kind of, the other thing was, I was wearing, when we got to Broward County, the cardiologist assistant came to me and said, do you want me to call your church? And I was like, well, do you know I have a church? You were in church by please. I was like, and they said, oh my God, I was wearing the black shirt by plates, and I didn't know. So it was funny, and I said, no, I can't. No, now, because our family is Roman Catholic, so I don't know what to do now. It was Saturday. And then after that, I was kind of desperate. I need my friends, I need my sister, I need Larry, I need someone to pray with me. And I I was in the waiting room with his family, and it was in front of, I was kind of praying, and in front of me, it was another lady. It was a lady. I didn't know her. She was a Christian, and she looked at me and she said, "Do you want me to pray with you?" And I was like, "Huh?" So she prayed with me. Then I went outside the room, and it was another Christian lady who came to me and said, "Do you want me to pray with you?" And she prayed with me. And it was a point where I said, I have to call my friends, my sister. So I called Laquita, because I couldn't find Larry's phone number. I called Laquita, and I left a message, and I called my friends. I have a group of friends from Calvary Chapel, and we do a Bible study. They're here. So I called them and I text them, and the prayers started from there. It was so powerful. So my husband's family is a Roman Catholic, and we didn't want too many people in there. But Larry, it was Father's Day when Larry was there, and my husband's father, he's a business guy. His focus is business, and when he saw Larry there praying for Andres, leaving his family to go to see his son, he was moved. He was moved. He said, "This sir left his family just to come and see my son," and I said, "Yeah, that's the love of God in him. That's the way we're Christian people act." So all his family was really moved. After that, all my friends from Calvary, from Church Medical, went to the hospital, and we were praying over Andres' body. He was with a bunch of things in his mouth, hundreds of medicine. It was amazing. His kidney didn't work. His lung didn't work. He was breathing with the machine. Nothing was working on him. Only his heart was working 10%. So it was a lot of people around here, a lot of doctors. Doctors were saying, "No, he's not going to make it." So, but the prayers of everybody and the power of God gave life to each single part of his body. I was texting my friends every time, "Okay, Andres' kidney is not working. I'm walking by faith. Please pray." Everybody was praying and fasting for Andres. So his kidney came back. Then he has something that it amazed me a lot. He was bleeding inside. Doctors didn't know from where, and he was receiving a lot of blood transfusion every day. And I asked my friends for Calvary, from Chapel, from Church, texting every day, giving them the updated. And I said, "Okay, Lord, you made his body. You can do something with this bleeding." So suddenly, he wasn't bleeding anymore, and the doctor was in shock that this guy's not bleeding. Okay. Then his mother came, and his mom was sleeping at the hospital and praying with him also. And the gorgeous miracle is that at the beginning she asked me, because she didn't know who to pray. So I said, "Well, just go to the Lord, go to God the same way we talk." And she was praying and praying and praying. And another miracle that happened when his kidneys came back, and then he was stopped, the bleeding stopped. Then it was amazing, all the nurses and all the doctors around him looking at us. Then another thing that God did, it was he touched every single nurse and every single doctor, because the allergists were saying, "He's not going to make it, he's not going to make it." There was one point where Andres, all his body was getting better and better and better. And when Andres was able not to speak, because he was conscious, because most of this time was like for 2 months he was at the hospital and in intensive care. Doctor says, well, he was able to open his eyes and make some movement. Then it was a point where he wasn't able to speak, but he was unconscious. Then they took the machine out of him, and he was able to speak. Something that amazed me also was a nurse that was working there with her son. her son was kind of 30 years old, and he was the one who was always taking Andres' temperature at night. And at night, I used to go inside his room, go on my knees, and pray Psalm 91 over him. And this guy was always getting inside, taking his temperature, right? And when he was on vacation, when he came back, Andres was able to speak. And he was like, that's the guy. And he said, oh my goodness, they said this guy, do you know, everybody was praying for you, you know that? And wow, you're speaking, you're doing really good. And Andres said, oh, okay. Then later on, Andres was able to speak with him. And he said, have you ever been to church by the way? And this guy was, no. Oh, okay. That's it. And he said, oh, you know, your wife was praying for you every day, your mom and everybody was here, and the entire church was here praying for you guys. Oh, whatever you wanted, you can go to church by the way. It's okay. The next day, like 3 months later, 3 days later, his mom and him was here at church. So the Lord was kind of working, you know, in everybody's lives. Well, Andres, at the end, the cardiologist spoke to his mom and said, to whom did you pray? The cardiologist was like, this guy has been, and the cardiologist said, medicine didn't save him because I did all I can as a doctor, and I didn't have hope for this guy, and this guy, to whom did you pray? The doctor asked his mom, and his mom said, to God. And then another day, I took him to the doctor with his mom, and it looks like this doctor, the Lord was working with him because this doctor was kind of cold, but at the same time with a good heart. And this doctor, we took Andres to the regular, to his appointment. And then look at Andres and said, oh, how you feeling? So his mom told the doctor, do you know God used you to do this miracle? And I said to him, you must be really special because the Lord chose you to do the miracle. And he was crying. He was like this, crying. He said, I know, now I believe, I know, like, leave me alone. He was like that, said, I know, now I believe. And I said to him, well, yes, it's the power of God who did all this. Another big miracle that I saw in his family was that most of them doesn't go to church. And after this, at the beginning, they didn't really knew Christian people. And now they see us with a little more love and respect and belief in us, which is a big miracle. One of his cousins, he's 20 years old, and I do remember him talking to me in front of Andres' room, and he said, I'm agnostic. I don't believe in miracles of God, there's nothing like that. So he asked me, how do you do? I said, well, just if you don't believe in God, just ask him if he is real. Just like that. You ask him, just open your eyes, you're going to see something on TV or driving, anywhere you will see how God is going to reveal to you. Or you just read the Bible. I said, read it. Really, Virginia, just do it. If you're going to know if it's real or not. That's it. So the funny part was, Andres was getting better and better and better. And his aunt called him and said, oh, Andres is getting better. He's sitting down in a chair. And he was like, what? Is he doing better? Yes. Well, I have to read the Bible now. And we all asking him, why is that? Well, I made a promise. If he was really real, like Virginia said, that he's really real, I will read the Bible. If he really saved Andres for that thing that happened, that I'm going to read the entire book. And I said, thank you, Lord. I took my Bible and give it to him. That's pretty good. So, I'm still in shock. It's another thing that happened, I do remember inside the hospital, it was a nurse. I don't know what the Lord was working on her, but she was always getting inside Andres' room, cleaning and all that. When Andres was able to speak, and she got inside the room, and Andres said, "Good morning," that lady started crying like a baby. I do remember she was looking at Andres and said, "Oh, such a miracle, such a miracle," and then crying, and she had to go outside the room, and it was kind of like, oh, it's so amazing. Another thing that happened that when the doctors from Coral Springs took Andres to Broward, one of the cardiologists, assistant cardiologists, it was a doctor from Calvary who received Andres, and the nurse was from here, from Church Valley Lakes. Yeah, I was so amazed. I was like, oh, yeah. I was like in shock. I said, God, do you work such a weird things? I don't understand all of that. But that happened to us. The doctors didn't recognize that it was a miracle until 3 weeks later, 4 weeks later. For them was not a miracle until they did an Andres scan in his brain, because all the doctors said after, because Andres was out for more than 40 minutes. He was dead for 40 minutes. And doctors said, well, he doesn't have any, if he survived, he's probably gonna have a brain damage. And I do remember Larry telling me, Virginia, when God starts something, he's gonna finish perfect. So I used to say, okay, Lord, you start this, I'm sure you're gonna start everything perfectly. And his mother also praying, asking to God to do a perfect thing on him. And the doctors did the test in his brain, and it was perfect. It was perfect. Totally healed. Of course, right now, like the doctor says, he's on medication. His heart needs to get stronger. But like all the doctors agreed that it was a miracle. And they took a picture of him to put it in a magazine from the doctors. Apparently they have like records of things that they do when something like that happened. They took pictures of the situation. Even the doctor here in Coral Springs, when she touched Andres and felt the pulse, she said to me, of course they saw me on praying for Andres while they were doing an electroshock and CPR and all that. They said, in 30 years of working, this is the first time I see someone coming back. And I said, well, because God is real. God is real. He does this kind of thing. For me, I was in shock. I couldn't cry for 4 days. I didn't see any angels, nothing like that, but I felt a lot of things, and that's the God we serve. I don't know why he does for some people and not for others, but I just in shock, and I know the Lord is going to keep doing a lot of miracles around his family, my family, his friends, my friends, and I had my sister, which is so important, from Calvary, and my sister from Church by the Lakes, helping praying for me during those times, and I just, of course, all the glory is for God. All the glory is for him who does such a, like Larry said, God has something big for you, bigger than this. It's kind of like a little scary, but yeah, that happened to us, and I'm really proud to be part of Larry's group, because most of what I learned from the Word of God, it was done at the beginning with Larry's group. He, like Andres, we were not, he didn't really like to go to church sometimes at the beginning, and when he met Larry, he said, oh, that's a real person guy. That's the real thing. Of course, Andres doesn't remember much. He was sedated when all that happened. He doesn't remember much. When he hears all that, then he gets kind of like, confused and depressed, but like the doctor says, it's going to be 1 year of healing inside, emotional, and his body. But yes, he was out for more than 40 minutes. He was declared dead, and the Lord did such a miracle. So just praise our God.
Thank you, everybody. I just want to say that I really appreciate everybody praying for me, and miracles happen.
Boy, that's a tough act to follow. Ladies, thank you so much for being there for Virginia, and welcome to Church by the Lades. I think you got my notes, Virginia. Unfortunately, when you lose your hair and it turns gray, you also lose your memory, so without this stuff, I'm lost. That was pretty cool. Hey, we're gonna have cake now. What I think we're gonna do is, I think we're gonna serve the people up near the front, and those of you near the back, if you can just go back and get your cake. Now, I want you to do this very quietly, because we've got some people that are gonna come up and entertain us, okay? So, well, we have to wait for the potty break. Let's sing Amazing Grace. Oh, Cliff has another idea. Go get your cake. Come on, quickly, get your cake. Shoot, get your cake. So much for schedules.
Wait up, hello.
Because I'm going to get some cake and serve it.
Video cameras that burn straight to DVD. A little bit more pricey, but these little mini DVDs.
Yeah, don't do that. That's old technology.
It's old technology. Well, it's a new technology. Big hard drive.
Yeah, a little thumb drive, whatever.
I haven't looked at cameras in a while. Like years.
And even the one with the digital tape is fine, because it's digital, goes in your computer. That's old technology too, the tape.
Does he belong to you? Okay. He's okay.